The auditorium lights glared against my eyes as I stood on stage, clutching the rolled-up diploma in my hands. My chest swelled with a mix of pride and trembling nerves, waiting for just one moment, just one word of acknowledgement from my family. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us, what would you do in this situation? Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. Instead, when I stepped down into the crowd, my father's voice cut through the applause like a knife. Your degree means nothing, Hannah, Dad said loudly enough for relatives around us to hear. His arms were crossed, his jaw stiff with contempt. You think a piece of paper makes you better? Go home and help your brother with his business. That's what real success looks like. The smile froze on my lips. My classmates' families were hugging, crying, taking pictures. Mine? They were watching me burn alive under Dad's words. Dad, I worked 4 years. I started, my voice shaking. He raised his hand to shut me up. 4 years wasted. Who's going to hire you? Don't fool yourself, Hannah. Your brother will carry this family forward, not you. You should learn your place. Laughter slipped from my cousin's lips. Guess that gown's just for show, she whispered to my aunt. Heat rose up my neck. My fingers clenched so tightly around the diploma that the ribbon almost snapped. Mom didn't defend me. She looked away, pretending to check her phone. My brother, Jason, smirked like he'd already won something. I swallowed hard, holding back the sting in my chest. You don't have to believe in me, I whispered. But don't think I'll crawl behind Jason forever. Dad leaned in, eyes cold. You'll do as I say, and that's final. The world around me blurred, the cheers, the cameras, the families celebrating. I walked out alone, my heels clicking against the polished floor, each step echoing my humiliation. That night in my room, I sat at my desk staring at my diploma. My hands trembled as I traced the letters of my name. It should have been my proudest day. Instead, it was poisoned. But the story didn't end there. Because the next morning, a black SUV pulled up in front of our house. The sound of its engine made everyone peek through the blinds, and when the door opened, my grandfather, Edward Carter, the man my father hadn't spoken to in years, stepped out holding a polished wooden box. The air shifted instantly. What the hell is he doing here? Dad muttered, his face paling. Grandpa didn't even look at him. His eyes locked straight onto me. Hannah, he said in a firm, clear voice that carried through the morning air. I have something for you. And when he lifted the lid, my entire family froze. The morning air felt razor sharp, every second stretching as my grandfather, Edward Carter, stood in our driveway with that polished wooden box in his hands. His presence alone carried weight. Broad shoulders despite his age, silver hair neatly combed back, a stern look that made my father visibly uncomfortable. Hannah, he repeated, his voice steady, eyes narrowing at my pale face. This belongs to you. He opened the box. Inside lay a set of keys resting on a thick envelope sealed with red wax. The shine of the metal caught the sun, reflecting directly into my father's squinting eyes. Jason was the first to break the silence. What's this, Grandpa? He asked, feigning curiosity, but his smirk faltered when Grandpa snapped back. Not for you, boy, Grandpa said, his tone sharp as steel. This is Hannah's. My father's jaw tightened. Dad, whatever stunt you're pulling, stop. She doesn't need… Stunt? Grandpa's eyes flared, his voice suddenly thunderous. Yesterday I heard how you humiliated her, on her graduation day of all days. You told her that her degree meant nothing? His words cracked like a whip. Neighbors paused on their morning walks, glancing toward our house. Mom tugged Dad's sleeve, hissing, Lower your voice. People are watching. Dad's face reddened. She needs to learn reality. Jason is the one with a future. Enough! Grandpa's voice silenced him instantly. His gaze shifted back to me, softening just a little. Hannah, open the envelope. My hands shook as I broke the wax seal. Inside were crisp documents, property, papers. The address written across the top made my stomach drop. This is a condo downtown, I whispered, blinking hard to make sure I wasn't imagining it. Not just any condo, Grandpa said firmly. It's fully paid, in your name. And the keys? To the office right below it. That office is yours now, Hannah. I bought it years ago, waiting for the right moment. Yesterday was the last straw. You deserve better than to be treated like baggage. In your own family. The papers fluttered in my trembling hands as gasps erupted around me. Jason's voice shot up, desperate. That's not fair. I'm the one running a business. I could use that space. Why her? Grandpa's stare cut through, him like glass. Because she earned it. She didn't take shortcuts. She didn't coast on favors. She worked, Jason. And while you've been chasing profit, she's been chasing knowledge. Don't you dare question why. My father stepped forward, fists clenched at his sides. Dad, you can't just hand over property like candy. She's not capable of managing it. Grandpa didn't blink. She'll learn. And I'll back her every step. That's more than you ever gave her. The tension was thick, pressing on my chest. I swallowed hard, my voice cracking as I finally spoke. Grandpa, why me? Why now? His face softened, the wrinkles around, his eyes deepening. Because yesterday I saw my granddaughter shamed when she should have been celebrated. You're not invisible, Hannah. You're not weak. And it's time the world, and this family, sees it. My throat tightened. For years I'd hidden behind silence, behind Jason's shadow, behind Dad's endless lectures that I wasn't enough. And now, here stood my grandfather, pushing me into the light. Dad's face twisted with rage. This is ridiculous. Hannah, don't think this changes anything. You still live under my roof. You'll still do as I say. Grandpa turned to him, his voice low but deadly. Not anymore. She has her own roof now. The words hit like a thunderclap. Jason sputtered. Mom pressed her hand to her mouth. Dad stood frozen, his power slipping like sand through his fingers. I gripped the keys tightly, feeling the cold metal dig into my palm. For the first time, I didn't feel like a burden. I felt free. But freedom came with fire. I lifted my chin and looked straight into Dad's eyes. My voice was steady, louder than I expected. You told me my degree meant nothing. Well, tomorrow I start something that will prove you wrong, and you won't control me anymore. The silence that followed was deafening. My father's lips, pressed into a thin line, his nostrils flaring. Jason's eyes darted with envy, and Mom wouldn't even meet my gaze. Grandpa placed his hand on my shoulder, grounding me. Hannah, you have a future that doesn't depend on their approval. Don't waste time convincing them. Just show them. The box snapped shut with a heavy finality as Grandpa handed it to me, and as I turned to step back inside, holding those keys like they were lifelines, I realized the balance of power in my family had shifted. But what none of us knew then was that this gift was only the beginning, because my father and brother weren't about to let me rise without a fight, and I wasn't about to back down. The condo door creaked open with a soft push, and sunlight spilled across polished hardwood floors. I froze in the doorway, clutching the keys so tightly my knuckles whitened. This was mine. The space smelled faintly of cedar and fresh paint, a clean slate ready to carry my name. From the balcony, the city stretched wide and alive, traffic humming below like the pulse of possibility. Grandpa really did this, I whispered to myself, my throat tight with disbelief. It's real. I trailed my hand along the granite kitchen counter, the The sleek desk in the office downstairs, the tall windows framing a world I thought I'd never have access to. For once, the future wasn't a locked door. I held the key. But reality wasn't going to let me enjoy it quietly. That evening, my phone buzzed relentlessly. First Jason, then Dad, then Mom. Jason's text. "You don't deserve that office. Hand it over or you'll embarrass yourself." Dad's voicemail. "Hannah, don't get ahead of yourself. This isn't permanent. Don't make me step in." Each word was a chain trying to drag me back. I deleted them without hesitation, my pulse pounding with a mix of fear and defiance. By the next morning, the storm arrived at my doorstep. A sharp knock rattled the condo door. When I opened it, Jason barged in, eyes wild with anger. His polo shirt was crisp, but his face was twisted with panic. "You think you can just take what's mine?" he spat, slamming his hand against the wall. I held my ground. "It's not yours, Jason. Grandpa gave it to me." He laughed bitterly, pacing the living room like a caged animal. "Grandpa doesn't know what he's doing. You've got a useless degree, Hannah. What are you going to run here? A pity project? Clients don't want someone who hides in books. They want results. That's me. Always been me." His words stung, but something inside me snapped. "I've listened to you belittle me my whole life." I shot back, my voice sharp and shaking. "But I'm done playing the shadow to your spotlight. You want results? Watch me." Jason's nostrils flared. "You'll regret this." Before I could answer, Grandpa's voice thundered from the hallway. "No, Jason. The only one who will regret anything is you." Jason froze. Grandpa stood at the door, cane in hand, his gaze like fire. He stepped inside, his presence filling the room. "You storm into her place like a thief?" Grandpa barked. "Have some dignity." "Grandpa, you don't get it," Jason argued, his voice desperate now. "She's not built for this. She'll fail, and when she does, you'll see I was right all along." Grandpa's jaw clenched. "Failure is not the shame here. The shame is a brother who tries to break his sister before she's even begun." Jason's mouth opened, but no words came out. He turned, storming out with the slam of the door that rattled the condo walls. I stood frozen, adrenaline buzzing in my veins. Grandpa placed his hand on my shoulder. "Don't let his fear become your fear. People who know they're losing control always lash out first." Tears burned in my eyes. "What if he's right, Grandpa? What if I fail?" He looked at me with piercing clarity. "Then you fail on your own terms. Not his, not your father's. Yours, and that's worth more than 1,000 hollow victories built on someone else's approval." I swallowed hard, letting his words sink into the cracks where doubt lived. That night, I sat at the office desk downstairs, flipping open my laptop. The hum of the screen lit my face as I stared at the blank document waiting for me. My heart pounded, but my fingers began to move. Plans, ideas, dreams I had buried because no one believed in them. Every keystroke was rebellion. Every line was proof that I wasn't invisible. But outside, the battle lines were being drawn. At home, Dad was pacing the living room, his voice booming as he spoke to Mom. "Edward's lost his mind. If Hannah succeeds, she'll humiliate us. We need to put her back in her place before she embarrasses the family." Jason sat nearby, his fists clenched. "Don't worry, Dad. She won't last. I'll make sure of it." Their voices echoed down that hallway like a declaration of war. And in my condo, I felt the tension in my bones, even without hearing their words. Because I knew this wasn't over. My family wasn't going to let me rise quietly. They would fight, scheme, and push me to the edge. But for the first time in my life, I was ready to fight back, and something deep in my chest whispered, "Let them come." 3 weeks later, the downtown office buzzed with quiet energy. A handful of young professionals, fresh graduates like me, dreamers with fire in their eyes, sat around the conference table. I looked at them, heart pounding, as I clicked to the final slide of my presentation. "This," I said, pointing to the glowing screen, "is our start. A consulting firm built on innovation, not tradition. We don't need 100 years of reputation. We need courage. And if we stick together, we'll prove everyone wrong." Applause echoed around the room. My throat tightened. They believed in me, but not everyone was clapping. The glass door swung open, and there stood Jason and Dad. My father's expression was carved from stone. Jason smirking like he'd already won. The air thinned. "Impressive," Dad said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But let's not pretend, Hannah. This is a playhouse. Nothing more." Jason leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You're embarrassing yourself. Pack it. Up before the whole city laughs at you." The team glanced nervously at me. Heat rose in my chest, my hands trembling at my sides. I could crumble. I could let their words cut me down again, but I didn't. I stood taller, locking eyes with them. "You came all this way just to insult me? Looks like I'm not the one wasting time." The smirk slipped from Jason's lips. Dad's face darkened. "Watch your mouth." Before I could answer, the conference door opened again. This time, Grandpa walked in. His cane clicked against the floor, his presence commanding silence. He looked straight at my father. "Enough. Richard, you've spent years crushing her spirit. No more." Dad scoffed. "She's not ready." "She's more ready than you ever were." Grandpa cut in, voice sharp. He turned to my team. "Do you know why I gave Hannah this office? Because she's the only one in this family with the courage to build something of her own. You young people follow her, not because she's my granddaughter, but because she's earned your trust." My chest burned with emotion. Grandpa wasn't just defending me. He was handing me the authority my father had always denied. Jason shook his head, his voice rising. "This is a joke. I've built a company already. I'm the one with experience." Grandpa's gaze snapped to him. "Experience doesn't make a man if arrogance rots it from the inside." Jason's face reddened. He turned on me, pointing a finger. "You'll regret this, Hannah. You'll fall flat on your face, and when you do, don't come crawling back." The words echoed sharp and cruel, but they didn't pierce me anymore. I looked him dead in the eye. My voice came out steady, stronger than I imagined. "Jason, I won't crawl anywhere. Not back to you, not back to Dad. I'll stand on my own feet, and when I rise, you'll have no choice but to watch." Gasps rippled around the room. My team's eyes lit with respect. Grandpa's lips curved in the faintest smile. For the first time in my life, I felt untouchable. Dad grabbed Jason's arm, his voice low and strained. "Let's go." They stormed out, their footsteps sharp against the floor, but they couldn't take back what had just happened. The power had shifted. I turned to my team, my hands finally steady. "Where were we?" "Oh, right, building the future." They laughed, clapped, and leaned in with renewed energy. And as I glanced at Grandpa, standing tall with pride in his eyes, I knew the truth. I wasn't the forgotten daughter anymore. I was Hannah Carter, leader, graduate, fighter, and this was just the beginning.